Hello everyone, welcome to the SI UK India webinar. Thank you so much for joining us. We are now live with University College Dublin. Today we have Supriya, Emma, Dr. Kara and Kevin with us. They will be taking us through this webinar. We'll try to answer all the questions after the presentation during the Q&A session. So let's start the webinar. Over to you, Supriya.
Good afternoon, everyone, and a very warm welcome to the University College Dublin's webinar, Sustainability Matters, Job That Helps the Planet. My name is Supriya Sampson, and I am the Regional Manager South Asia for UCD Global Center. These days, the term sustainability is frequently mentioned. But what does it actually mean? Sustainability can be defined as the integration of environmental health, social equity, and economic vitality to foster thriving, healthy, diverse, and resilient communities, both now and for the future generations. The concept of sustainability is often divided into three main pillars: economic, environmental, and social, commonly referred to as profit, planet, and people. Numerous businesses and governmental bodies have made commitments to sustainable objectives, aiming to decrease their environmental impact and preserve resources. This highlights the pressing need for sustainability initiatives. In response to demand for expertise in various fields, including sustainability, new courses are continually being developed. UCD is very proud to have achieved the top ranking in Ireland in the QS Sustainability Ranking for 2024. To discuss UCD and our new initiatives and the courses in the related area, today in the panel I have Miss Emma Donovan. Emma is the Marketing and Communication Manager at the UCD College of Social Science and Law. Along with her, I have Dr. Kara. She is the Program Director for MSc Environmental Policy. I also have Kevin Gam. He is an Assistant Professor in Finance at UCD College of Business. And to know about our courses in detail and hearing directly from the horse's mouth, I have our current student, Masa Ali. She herself is a GIS analyst and is currently doing an MSc Risk Resilience and Sustainability at University College Dublin. So without taking any time further, I now hand over to Emma, who will discuss some courses in the area of social science. So over to you, Emma.
Thank you so much, Supriya. Hello, everybody, and you're very welcome to today's webinar. My name is Emma Donovan, and I am the Marketing Manager here in the College of Social Sciences and Law. So with just to give a little bit of context in terms of how the MSc Risk Resilience and Sustainability fits into our college, just to give you a very brief overview, we are one of the 6 colleges here in UCD, and we have 11 schools. So the MSc Risk Resilience and Sustainability program is offered through our School of Geography. And I just wanted to give you a sort of a sense of the numbers in terms of in our college. We have over 1,200 international students who are attending programs within our College of Social Sciences and Law, both undergraduate and graduate students. And we have a very highly ranked college within our schools. We have 11 schools, as I mentioned. We have 7 schools that have been awarded in the top 100 QS rankings in the 2024 QS rankings. And the School of Geography is one of those schools ranked within the top 100 worldwide in QS rankings per subject. So that is really important for you to know, the school that you will be coming to study in, the depth and the knowledge that the academics are bringing, the integrity of our school, and also the employment opportunities. And as Supriya mentioned, the university is ranked in the top 50 in our sustainability rankings and in the QS World Rankings worldwide. So just coming on to the program itself. So I'm going to talk very briefly just on the MSc Risk Resilience and Sustainability. So when we think about geography, we're thinking here about the subject and the discipline, which offers the expertise in the environment and also brings the societal dimensions of risk, resilience, and sustainability. And this course is well placed to offer an interdisciplinary framework. I say that because we are looking at the hazards that are facing our societies and our environment, and really what we can do to mitigate and the solutions that we can provide. So this course is very closely linked through that interdisciplinary framework with the School of Earth Sciences here in UCD. So this particular course, who should apply? Well, it's really for candidates who are interested in finding out more about the risk and resilience and how we really adopt different practices when we're providing a solution-based approach. We have cutting-edge research-led teaching on this program, working towards shaping the future. And we're not only environmentally sustainable, but also addressing the critical importance of future-proofing our Earth. So these are, I suppose, the whys and the unique parts of the course and why students would come to study with us. As key objectives of the course, we're really understanding and exploring how sustainability and resilience work together in safeguarding our ecosystem services. So this course is really suitable for graduates or for graduates of geography disciplines, if you're maybe working already in the field of the environmental consultancy, because this course provides key training in critical skills such as geographical information systems, remote sensing, and also the option then to specialise maybe in coastal risk through our Infomar seabed mapping programmes. We also have modules on the course that allow specialisation in aspects of sustainability relating to cities and how we build sustainable cities, and also relating to the global south. A core component of the course as well is our field trip modules. So field trip modules involve traveling to cities in like London in Europe, but we also have field trips last year that spent time in Mozambique. So it really depends what your area of interest is. So how the course is shaped. So what you will study on the course, if you feel this course is of interest to you, and what exactly are the core components of this course. So all our graduate taught masters are 90 credit courses. This particular master's is made up of 60 credits of taught modules. So in your first and second semesters, you will do 4 core modules. So these are core modules you have to do. So these include natural hazards and risk, research design, both 1 and 2 modules, introduction to GIS. If you haven't had a background, that's a core module. And we also do that field trip, as I mentioned. And we have a current student on this program who will talk a little bit more about the course in detail. These are then complemented with the optional modules, so they're all 10 credits, and then students will choose a further 4 optional modules from the list here. These are really modules that students will choose depending on their area of interest and speciality. So if you're a GIS specialist, you can maybe go and do advanced GIS or the remote sensing. But if you are coming from an environmental or science background, maybe you're interested in coastal risks, maybe in undertaking an internship. So you can see there's a lot of optional modules there. And then the final part of this course is your dissertation. So it's a thesis dissertation, 30 credits to make up the full course component. So it's a very broad range of course, as you can see here in terms of the modules. You have a lot of options in the optional modules, as I said, an internship or advanced GIS skills. Really, it's for students to choose. So our entry requirements would be the following. So we're really interested in students who have a primary degree. So it is a 2-1 we are looking for, or international equivalent, in geography related or a related discipline to this subject. We also will consider graduates as well who have had some work experience. So if you maybe are coming from a science background, or you have worked in sustainability and you're working in the field, please do get in touch with us, and we will have a look in terms of the accreditation and our entry requirements in that circumstance. So these are the international requirements. In terms of the career opportunities, so really sustainability and resilience are going to be increasingly key areas that we're going to see job opportunities in the future. And they're going to be really sought after through local governments, but also the private sector. And this particular master's really offers you an entry point into roles in environmental protection agencies, such as UN agencies, international organizations across the European Union, and also in your local countries as well, which are dealing with environmental protection. Also, the private sector is seeing a lot more growth in terms of the roles they're looking for environmental and sustainability consultants. And really the skills that you will gather from this degree really are very transferable when we think about your skills in GIS and remote sensing, with communications and collaborative training. These are all very valuable when we think about some of the types of industries and sectors. So just to give you a flavour of two recent graduates, this programme has been in market for the last 2 years. So it's a new programme, as Supriya mentioned. We're always adopting and bringing through new programmes in this field as it develops. So Orla is a graduate from 2022. She's now working in the private sector as a sustainability analyst with CRH. We also have Pablo, who's from Spain, and he is working as an environmental consultant with a private sector agency as well, Gauss International Consulting. So there are a lot of, as I said, opportunities, and our graduate student will go into some of her career opportunities as well in a short while. But I would reiterate our two-year stay back visa opportunities with all our graduate programs here in Ireland. Our supports that we offer, this is really broad in terms of the UCD offering, but we offer onboarding support for all our incoming students. Our orientation is for program specific, welcoming into a program, but also supports from UC Global, your new to Ireland orientation. If you're interested in this program, the details of how to apply and the application process, the fees, the entry requirements, all about the core modules in depth can be found on this site. You can scan the QR code now, so I'm happy to take your questions at the end. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Emma. That was very informative and so good to see that the students are doing so well after completing the course. Now I hand over to Dr. Kara, and she will talk about the MSc Environmental Policy. So over to you.
Great. Thank you, Supriya, and thanks everyone for inviting me today. So I am here to speak about the MSc in Environmental Policy that we offer. I'm the program director of this course. I actually started my background in environmental science and engineering, and then moved to policy because I really felt that the policymakers and the politicians weren't really understanding and listening to the science. And actually, if we wanted to really make change, it had to be at the policy level. So we actually bring in a lot of students with a similar feeling. We bring in people with chemistry backgrounds and social science backgrounds and everything that really want to influence environmental policy at that level. So today I'll give you a little bit of a background about what environmental policy is and how we teach it in our program at UCD, and then some of the benefits of doing our program, and a few tips on admissions if you're interested in applying to our MSc program. So our program is set within the College of Engineering and Architecture and within the School of Architecture, Planning and Environmental Policy. So that's a different college than what Emma was presenting there. And when we talk about environmental policy, what we mean is any course of actions or principles that an organization would adopt to address environmental issues. So that could be a government or even a company or a community group. Lots of different organizations adopt environmental policies. And for our students, what that means is that they have a lot of opportunities to work in a very wide range of organizations, because pretty much every organization now is thinking about their environmental policies. It also gives them a big opportunity to work in a very wide range of environmental challenges. So we have, they're working on climate change, air and water pollution, waste management, biodiversity. The policy issues are endless. So it's a very, very diverse range of backgrounds and career opportunities. To give you an example of what an environmental policy is, probably the most simplistic one and one that people have heard about a lot is the idea of a carbon tax. So that would be an environmental economic policy, and we do focus on environmental economics as part of our curriculum. So we know that if you put a tax on fossil fuels, that people will look for alternative options in terms of their transport in order to save money, and that's been demonstrated. So economics is a big part of our work, but actually environmental policies go far beyond economic policies, because we know that sometimes people aren't rational actors, and that they don't always do the most cost-effective thing for a variety of reasons. And so more and more behavioral interventions and psychology becomes part of environmental policy too. Social acceptance, it becomes very, very wide. And what we've seen when we look at environmental policy more broadly is that if you look at sectors like the automotive sector or the energy sector, for example, not only are there lots of different policy instruments that can reduce emissions, but they also increase innovation. And that's the really exciting thing to be part of an environmental policy right now. If you look at, say, the electric vehicle sector, which is clearly, designed to reduce emissions and get us off fossil fuels, but actually we see such technological advancement coming out of the switch to electric vehicles too, in terms of self-driving abilities and other things. So those co-benefits or those win-win situations are definitely the sweet spot that we're looking for as policymakers, where we're reducing emissions, we're having a beneficial impact on the environment, but we're also creating other societal benefits to increase the acceptance of these policies. And more we're finding that the world is accepting environmental policy in a way that they probably never did before. So even in America, which is very divisive, you find when you present the kind of environmental policies that we need to do, largely people are in favor of them and understand that we need to move to a more sustainable society. And I think particularly working in Europe, I mean, I was educated in America, and I came to Ireland because Europe was ahead of America in terms of how it was approaching environmental issues. And you see that in the European level in the Green Deal, which is aiming to have net zero emissions in Europe by 2050, in strategies now moving to circular economy, so moving away from this disposable linear economy to an economy where the waste products from one industry become the fuel for another industry, and also in the work that's going on around the idea of a just transition. So making sure that people that are dependent on fossil fuels, either for their work or for their activities in their home, are not left behind, and they're able to transition to new ways and new livelihoods without facing economic hardship. So all of that is happening at a European level, and it really plays into our curriculum. We do have a module on European environmental policy, and we have a field trip to Brussels because this is really guiding a lot of the work that's happening in Ireland and in other EU member states. So in the past, when I moved to Ireland about 20 years ago, Ireland was considered one of the laggards, the climate laggards in Europe. We were behind a lot of other European countries in terms of how we reduce emissions and our response to environmental challenges. But in the last 4 years, and even maybe slightly before that, we've seen massive changes in Ireland in terms of how they're approaching environmental sustainability. So we currently have the Green Party in government with two other bigger parties, and as a result, over the last 4 years, the current government has about 300 environmental commitments that they are progressing through their work. And so that means we've seen improvements in climate legislation, new policies on waste, and Ireland is now actually leading in terms of its approach to waste management. And we are really catching up very quickly in terms of how we respond to environmental challenges. So it's a very exciting time to be in Ireland. And I would say another really nice thing about Ireland is it's very small, and our politicians and our policymakers are very accessible. So in our program, we would work directly with government. Sometimes they'll call us up and say that they have a problem that needs solving, and they'll ask our students to do the research and the groundwork to kind of help them address that problem. So we've worked with the government on things like carbon tax, on afforestation, on reducing administrative burdens. So it's really unusual, I think, especially coming from a place like America, to have such accessibility to our policymakers here in Ireland. Makes it a really nice, unique opportunity for students. So I often will tell students if they're interested in jobs, particularly in Ireland, to have a look. We have an annual climate action plan every year that the government publishes in terms of their actions and what they're going to achieve to reduce emissions. And that list or that annex of actions is actually very, what we call SMART, so very specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound goals. And each of those actions means a job or multiple jobs. Somebody has to do that work. So we have huge demand right now in Ireland. To put this in context, we have 5,000 people right now in Ireland working in the wind energy sector. But to achieve the targets we've set forth in legislation, we need 50,000 people working in the wind sector. And that's one sector alone. So the demand for employees and the opportunities for students is quite significant. And a lot of our international students are planning on staying on, and they're getting jobs here in Ireland because they like living in Ireland, and they want to stay, and the opportunities are here for them to stay if they choose to. So what are we doing within UCD? Well, we're trying to make sure that we create the graduates that can solve these complex challenges, that can think critically about policy. And I would say that environmental issues are very much, they're interdisciplinary issues. They can't be solved by one discipline or one person. So we're looking for people, and we're trying to train people who can understand the languages of all these different disciplines. So, policymakers, lawyers, scientists, engineers, and that's why we really do like to bring in different disciplines in terms of the student cohort, because they help each other understand, and they learn from each other and how to navigate the kind of language differences that we see in all these different disciplines. And so what are we looking for in terms of what we want you to learn? Well, obviously it's the knowledge base in terms of the environmental processes and the challenges, the scientific challenges, the policy and legal frameworks, the policy instruments, and also the social movements that guide our work, but also the skills in terms of being a good policymaker and being able to develop good policy. And that's obviously problem-solving skills and quantitative and qualitative data analysis. So we do some work in statistics, we do some work in GIS. Then the softer skills too are important in terms of teamwork and communication and project management. So I have a certified degree in project management, and I really embed that into my own classes too, because no matter what you do in life, you'll probably be doing some level of project management. So we have a wide range of tools, and we're constantly working with government and other employers to figure out what are the skills that they need and make sure that we update the content to reflect the skills that are needed by employers. So very similar to what Emma presented in terms of the demand for credits. It's 90 credits, and we divided them up in UCD. We divide up into 3 trimesters. So in our program, in the first trimester, you're doing environmental economics, EU policy, and then we have 2 faculty members who work in Africa. So we do some work in terms of looking at developing versus developed countries and the differences between those two in terms of how policymakers work in those 2 contexts. And then in the second trimester, you're really applying all that knowledge that you learned into very practical experience. So I run a module called Tools for Sustainable Development, which is a 12-week project-based learning exercise where we set a project at the start, and the students work in small groups to go out and get the data they need to answer a policy question. And so they're doing, qualitative and quantitative data analysis. They're essentially doing a small research project that oftentimes goes on to inform government policy. And then within the other modules in that trimester, you're learning the research skills. It could be in vivo, SPSS, GIS. You're learning the laws, those kind of things that feed into that project. And then finally, in the third trimester, the students have an option of either doing an internship or a research project with one of the faculty, or doing a thesis. And more the students choose the internship because it gives you 10 to 12 weeks of real practical real-world experience, which is very attractive to employers. So I'll talk a little bit about that in a subsequent slide, but this is kind of an example of what our schedule looks like. Sometimes it changes depending on the availability of the faculty, but you can see roughly what a full-time program looks like there for students. We also have a part-time program that applies for EEA applicants only, so probably not for a lot of the listeners here, but when you're applying for our program, you'll see 3 different choices. So I just wanted to let you know that there's a full-time program, there's a part-time program, and then there's what we call a full-time accredited program. What that means is that it's accredited with the Royal Town Planning Institute. It's really only available to our bachelor's students in city planning and environmental policy, and it's a continuation of their programs. It's a little bit more expensive and it gives them a RTPI accreditation. But the one you'll be applying for is that other full-time version. It is obviously accredited globally, but it's not accredited with the RTPI, which is more appropriate for people who want to go into planning in the UK and Ireland at a later date. So we have internship opportunities, as I said before, and this is an example of some of the places that students go on to do their internships. But really, it's up to the students. They find their internship. Sometimes we can make contacts with some of our alumni if they're interested in a specific organization, and they go out and they decide what internship they want to do. And our only requirement is that internship has an environmental policy component to it. So we work with the employer then to just make sure that the students are working on things that are relevant to their degree program as part of their internship. And obviously the experience is really important when you're here on campus. So as I said before, our students go off to Brussels for a field trip, an optional field trip. In spring, some of our students have gone to the United Nations Conference of Parties, the climate conference that I attend every year, and sometimes students will go to. And then obviously we have all the UCD facilities available to us, but our program is based over to the side of the main campus in a campus that we call UCD Richview, which is the School of Architecture, Planning and Environmental Policy. And so we have our own very historic planning library that the students like to study in sometimes, but they can obviously go over to the bigger campus too and avail of all those facilities also. So I think our faculty are working on a really wide range of topics, and students are very welcome to work with the faculty in the summer as a kind of a research project or an internship instead of going out to a company. And we're very closely linked with a lot of organizations outside of UCD. So I sit on Ireland's Climate Change Advisory Council and the President's Council of State. We also have faculty that are chairing Science Foundation Ireland or working directly with the government of Ireland. So there's a really nice opportunity to leverage the contacts that our faculty have to be able to make contacts outside of the university too. I won't talk too much about my own work, but this is an example of one of the internships that I run with Friends of the Earth for our students. We evaluate the government every summer, and we do a report card of how the government is doing in progressing their environmental policies. And it's a very high profile project, gets a lot of media attention every summer. And so it's very popular with the students because it gives them an opportunity to meet a lot of people and interview a lot of people. And then it's something that's very widely known that they can really use on their CVs at a later date. So I'll skip through the research on that, but happy to give anyone any further information if they want. Here are our faculty there. You can look them up and you can see what they're working on in case there's something in particular that you're interested in, that you'd like to work with them on in the future. And then I think one of the things that's really nice is that we have been in existence for 30 years. So a lot of sustainability programs are relatively recent, and it's a very hip and happening field to be in, but we were doing this before it was hip and happening. And what that really lends itself to is the fact that we have a lot of alumni out there already working in a lot of these companies. In fact, on Wednesday, I had 9 alumni back on campus to talk to our current students, and they were working in government, they were working in NGOs, they were going off and working in research and doing PhDs, and they were working in the big consultancy companies doing environmental consulting. So it's really exciting to see just what diverse opportunities they had. And of course, some of those big consulting companies are not only based in Ireland, but KPMG, EY, PwC, they also have a very international presence too. So there's a lot of opportunity to move around the world if that's something you're interested in. So very diverse and really limitless in terms of what's available to you. I've talked, I think, a bit about where we're going in terms of changes, so I won't go into that any further, but we are ranked in the top 150 by subject area for the environmental policy MSc. And we have these strong connections with industry, but also with our graduates, who it's just amazing how that every year they're dying to come back and talk to our current students and help our current students find jobs. So that's really, really lovely, and we're very grateful for that. And I think, one of the things that I love about working in environmental policy is, as a scientist, we would have focused a lot on the environmental problems, but in policy, we very much are about the solutions. So it's all about how to solve these things. And that's a much mentally a much easier place place to work in than constantly focusing on problems and not on solutions. So if you're interested in applying, it's pretty straightforward going to the UCD, general overview of graduate admissions programs. But when you get to the environmental policy, you see these three options: the RTPI accredited one at the top, the full-time one in the middle, and the part-time one at the bottom. So for you guys, you're probably looking at the W269, the full-time one. So just if you're confused, sometimes people are confused by the different options, that's the one you want to focus on. We're very open in terms of degrees that we are interested in. As I said before, that really actually makes it very interesting from a learning point of view to have chemists and engineers and social science and policymakers and lawyers all in the same classroom learning from each other. An honors degree, and though there's some flexibility about that if you can demonstrate work experience or you can demonstrate a strong connection to environmental policy. And obviously there's the English language proficiency requirement that Emma talked about, but UCD does have a pathway if there's a problem with that to help students get there over the summer before entering the program. So that's something that I'm sure they can tell you in the UCD International office. What I would say about the admissions process and a little tip for applying is we do ask for an essay just citing your compelling reasons for wishing to undertake our MSc in environmental policy. It's less than 600 words, but I'd encourage you to take that seriously and really think about why you want to do environmental policy, because sometimes we can have very strong applicants with lots of work experience in a certain profession that's maybe not related to environmental policy, but they haven't taken the time to articulate why they want to move to environmental policy, and that does stand against them. So that essay is really important for us if we're not sure what the connection is between your previous work and your desire to do environmental policy. Another thing I'll just say about our applications, we don't have an application deadline, so it's a first come, first served rolling applications, which is really nice for people. If they apply early, they usually get an answer early, and that lets them help with planning. But what I would also say is that means that, the sooner you apply, the more likely there'll be a space available for you, because obviously once we hit about 25 to 30 students, we have to stop giving offers. So the earlier you apply, the more chance of acceptance. So I'd encourage people to apply early. And then in terms of the fee structure, it's probably fairly straightforward, available on the website, but you'd be looking at the full-time version there, as opposed to the part-time one, which is extended over 2 years, and then the accredited one, which is a little more expensive because of its connection with the RTPI. So that is it from me. And I just put our marketing manager, Katie O'Neill's email there, because she would be very good on answering a lot of the questions regarding admissions or life at UCD. So if you take note of her email address and you want to direct any questions around that to her at a later date, I'm sure she'd be happy to answer them. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Kara. I must say it was very informative. And I should appreciate the project which you are running. It's a very important project. Somebody who's giving a report card to the government. That's a very big social responsibility that you have. So yeah, so it's brilliant, and it's so impressive to see students are also involved in so many projects, and there's a lot of scope, because every government, no matter which part of the world you are, everybody is talking about sustainability. So there's a lot of scope regarding that. So now let's talk about the sustainable finance. And for that, I have Kevin Gam with me. So I hand over to you, Kevin, for further information.
All right, thank you very much. And nice to meet you, everyone. And thank you for having me here. It's a great honor to introduce the program, the MSc in Sustainable Finance, to the students. And my name is Kevin Gam, and I'm the program director of MSc in Sustainable Finance in UCD Microsmart Fifth Grade Business School. So this background is our building where I stay now. So today's session, I will go through the following order. First, I will overview the program, and I will explain some course outline, show you some program statistics, and finally introduce some career opportunity available for the graduate of this program. So first one, the program overview. So this program is targeted for graduate with interest in environmental, social, and corporate governance, ESG issue. That means this program is tailored for students pursuing the careers in the field of sustainable finance. That includes renewable energy finance, which is really growing these days in Ireland, also worldwide, and also impact investment, and also ESG analysis as part of stock research, equity research. So our program is designed to, our program also suitable for students with wide range of background and discipline, not only business related disciplines such as business, finance, economics, but also non-business majors such as mathematics, engineering, and environmental science. So students with wide range background are suitable in this program. So our program is designed to furnish knowledge and skills which are essential to critically evaluate the business decision and financial strategy within the context of the transition to low carbon and sustainable economy. So since we will acquire some proficiency in statistical techniques for valuation and management of green portfolio and analyzing the ESG information of individual companies. So also students will have a chance to learn more about the government policy and public policy and the international global standard for the ESG or sustainability in this program. So I will talk about some course outline. So in this program, we have two modes. So one is full-time, the 12 months, and the other one is part-time, so 24 months. So I will explain the program based on our full-time mode. So our program starts from late August and also consists of 3 different trimesters. So in first trimester, students will commence their studies with a core finance module. So we have a 6 core finance foundation module. So the first one is quantum methods for finance, which is very important for finance study and also even in real world in financial market. And also another one is financial econometrics. This is about the quantitative, the regression and empirical method issue. And this is also quite essential for the data science these days. And students also learn about capital market, equity market, and asset pricing, corporate finance, and investment. All core finance module will be covered during the first trimester. After completing all those core modules, then we'll move on to a more specialized module in the second trimester during the springtime. So one of them is sustainable finance module. So we'll learn how the ESG information or ESG policy criteria can be integrated into investment decision by financial companies such as mutual fund or hedge fund, or lending decision by financial institutions such as commercial bank. In the renewable energy finance, we'll have a deep understanding about the structure or mechanism of the finance and funding employed in renewable energy sector. In energy economics policy, students will have a broad understanding or more complex understanding about the structure of energy market, energy economy, and their policies. In portfolio and risk management, students will learn how optimally the resources can be allocated by the investor. So this is a very important basis for the impact investment and also green data management. So after finishing their second trimester in spring, students will commence their summer trimester. So one of the core modules in summer is ethics in financial services. So this is also related to ESG issue and CSR, corporate social responsibility. That is also part of sustainability. And after that, we'll have a 3 different pathways during the summertime. The first one is to take more advanced finance courses during the summertime. So one of them is green data science. In this module, we'll have a chance to use the real green database and statistical tool to analyze and identify green information or ESG information of individual companies. And after that, students have a chance to take 2 more advanced courses during the remaining summertime. The other one is summer internship pathway. So students have an option to participate in the internship during the summertime, and this is also part of our program. The other one is research dissertation. So students have a chance to write the research paper during the summertime. In our small business school, there are many scholars who are interested in ESG issue and sustainable finance issue. So under their supervision, students have a chance to write the research paper during the summertime. And all of these modules are not only delivered by academics, but also by practitioners and guest lecturers with substantial industry experiences. And also beyond those curriculum, there are many co-curricular activities, including some investment practices by students under the Global Leadership Program. And also there are many guest lecturers and seminars related to the sustainable finance. Those kind of things also open to all Smart Field School students. And I will show you some statistics of this program. So in current year, the class size is around 25 students. So with wide range of background. So around 70% students are international students from overseas, other countries. And also their undergraduate major also quite diverse. So some students are fresh graduates, and the other students have substantial industry experiences before joining UCD Smart Field. And also we have many fantastic career opportunities for the graduate of this program. So until now, many graduates of this program start their careers as a project finance manager and business developer, especially in the field of renewable energy sector, which is really growing these days. And also other graduates start their careers as ESG analyst, corporate finance analyst, or equity research analyst, energy trader, or consultant, or researchers in the field of researchers in public research institutes, or even in academia. And most recently, top employers for our graduate include some global international finance company, accounting company, or consulting firms, or some local level, the renewable energy sectors, or some students also go to the Central Bank of Ireland, the public sector. So we also have career opportunity, the internship fair during the academic year, and also internship manager. So students should also get benefit from them. Also, we have very strong alumni network. So this is a very important information sources for job searching and internship for the students in this program. So this is quite brief information session. So if you need more information about our program, so please visit our website, smartfitschool.ie, and go to the MSc in Sustainable Finance, then you can get more information about our program. Or if you have, if also you need additional information, then please email me at kevin.gam@ucd.ie. So I hope this session is helpful for your better understanding, and I really look forward to meeting you in person in our campus here, in the background here, in our Smart Field School in upcoming academic year. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Kevin. That was really informative. Students, I want to reiterate the point that, for admissions from South Asia, the admissions are open for September 2024 for the courses which we have just spoken. So you can connect with SIUK and they can help you in making the applications for these courses. Now, as an international student, you should apply for the full-time program, which is because you are stationed here, and part-time students can only opt if they are in Ireland. So make sure when you are applying, it is a full-time course that you do. And for non-EU students, it's extremely important to showcase their English language ability. That's not just UCD's requirement, that is also the embassy's requirement. They also want to see exactly what your English proficiency is. Now I want to introduce our current student, Masa Ali, and like I mentioned initially in the introduction, she is currently studying. So we will hear about her experience and how she is finding UCD and the course which she's studying. So over to you, Masa.
Hi everyone, my name is Masa and I'm originally from the Maldives. I worked as a sustainability consultant there for the past 5 years after doing my bachelor's. My bachelor's is in environmental studies with a focus on sustainability and human ecology. and my area of expertise is in GIS. The reason I decided to go for my master's is because I wanted to upskill in order to advance my career opportunities. And I chose UCD because UCD is ranked very high in terms of employability. So I was awarded an Irish Aid Fellow scholarship to come to UCD on this master's. I'm in the Master of Risk Resilience and Sustainability. And the reason why I chose this particular one was because it had the modules that I wanted. I wanted to do advanced GIS, the environmental assessment, which gives you a bit of context, European context, which I don't have any experience in. So I wanted that European context in terms of policy, laws and regulations, the GIS modules, and also all the risk-related modules. So basically, I chose the program that had areas which I wasn't working in at the moment. What I really enjoy about the program is that the lecturers are very accessible and approachable. And as for the classes themselves, I think they really promote critical thinking skills. There are other international students with me. And the course content is quite varied. So for example, in the advanced GIS models, there's one for remote sensing, but the one I'm doing is for programming within GIS, so geostatistics with Python and R in GIS. There's also the fieldwork module. This year we're going to London, and we're basically looking at how urban cities are shaped. Again, a very GIS focused module. There, as Emma mentioned, there is a thesis component to it. My thesis topic is how community is included in the Maldivian, how community and climate action is included or not included really in the Maldivian tourism sector. And I want to develop an alternative framework for policy development focusing on those two areas. And for this, we actually have these two core modules, Research Design 1 and Research Design 2, which are very helpful because they basically go through the steps of finalizing your thesis topic to working on individual chapters, presenting your thesis topic to the lecturers, getting feedback. So I think that's one of my favorite modules because if you are coming in to a master's program after a while, I think you do need that guidance, getting back into academic writing and getting back into writing a thesis. As for UCD, the campus is excellent. There are a lot of facilities. There's the sports club, gyms, there's a cinema. We've also got an on-campus health service center, and the campus itself is very tech-friendly. I particularly like the libraries. There are a lot of study spaces, and these include silent study spaces as well as study spaces that cater to individual needs like sensory study spaces. I live on campus and the facilities are state of the art. It's very convenient because the campus accommodation brings you very close to your classes. And if you live on campus, you basically have all the necessities covered within the campus. You don't really need to go out to get the necessities. So I would recommend this program because it gives you varied career opportunities and there's a lot of different pathways that you can take. I took the GIS pathway, but you can also take things that focus on populations or like sustainable cities. It depends on you, really. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Masa, for sharing your experience, and we are very glad that you are enjoying studying in UCD. And we've received, the time is really less, and we've received a few questions. I'll take all the questions possible, but I'll share our email address also, which is india@ucd.ie. You can email us in case you have any questions, and we will answer them for you. Now, the first question which is coming is based on the scholarship opportunities. So students, I would like to tell you that UCD offers meritorious scholarships. And basically, for 2024, a lot of our competitive scholarships are already declared and they're gone. But we do offer some partial scholarship in selected courses. So if you apply, you may get some scholarship based on your academic background, in which we check which university you're coming, what scores you have. So you can actually apply. And this is the high time when you should make your application, because the visa also takes little time from India, and roughly during peak time, it may take around 5 to 6 weeks. That's the reason we recommend you to get your application in April, latest by April, so that we can offer you by May, and then you can apply and comfortably reach the campus. Now, the next question that we have received is regarding the curriculum on environmental policy. So this goes to Kara. So Kara, the question is, what are the key current issues in environmental policy being addressed in the curriculum?
Yeah, thanks. That's a great question. So obviously climate policy is a big component of a lot of the work that we do. But we also look at environmental impact assessments and strategic environmental assessments. And then we give students a lot of flexibility in terms of other environmental issues that they might be interested in. So that comes out in the assessment procedures. So there's a lot of report writing that happens in environmental policy, and writing policy briefs would be a very typical assessment for us. But we often let students pick the topic. So students might be very into fast fashion or waste or air pollution or whatever, and we let students choose based on what they're interested in.
So a lot of flexibility is available to students to choose. And do we give any support in helping them understand where their interest lies, or if they're confused, what support do they get from us?
Yeah, that focus starts in the first trimester. So we try and expose students to all the different environmental challenges as part of the curriculum content that we give in the first trimester, so that students can see what within that content is of most interest to them if they don't already know. Some students come in and they know that they're really into, for example, ESG or fast fashion or something, but they're exposed to everything as part of the content, so just in case they might not know what they want to focus on.
All right, thank you so much, Kara, for that. Next question is for Kevin. Kevin, a student wished to know if there are any potential internship opportunities within the program, and could you provide any information or guidance on any projects that they can do within the curriculum?
Oh, yes, sure. Yes. So thank you very much for the question. So internship cases. So we also have many. So these days, for example, renewable energy sector also need more and more finance people. They also have to finance fund from the financial market for the renewable energy investment. So those kind of things is covered in the renewable energy finance module. And we also invite people from the industry for the lecturer. And they also try to connect students here and also industry people. So that was a very important source of information about internship. So that is one part of that. Also, another one is a mutual fund and hedge fund. Also, they also need to hire more and more people who can analyze ESG information about individual company. So not only the account information, financial information, but also ESG sustainable information, also very important to analyze, to make decision about investment. So that kind of job and also that kind of position, function, also potential direction for the internship for the students of this program. So although many, we also have many guest lecture. So those guest lecturer also give many also another insight how the content taught in this program can be applied to the industry. So that is another very important information sources for students.
Right. Thank you, Kevin. And like you mentioned in your presentation also that UCT runs a couple of career fairs also. So basically, I want to tell students that these career fairs are where the companies are invited, right? And you get a chance to speak to them, to know what opportunities are coming in their organization. And when there is an opening, you can make an application and apply. And also, we mentioned in the presentation that we have internship managers who can help you in case you are confused. Don't feel that you are in a new destination, you don't know anybody, but there is support available to you. So UCD does provide a lot of information to the students through these career fairs, and the first one happens in September. So you join in the first week of September, and the last week of September is the first career fair. So this, which is like an eye opener, where you meet the employers and you hear from them what they need, and then you have those 10-11 months where you have to work on your profile and make a strong application. So I pass on the same question to Emma also. From the School of Social Science, I know there are some projects which the students are involved in. So how does it happen? Does the curriculum involves any kind of projects or internships?
Yes, within this program, students have the option to undertake an internship. So that's one of the optional modules that they're allowed to choose. And the school, in terms of graduate studies within our college, students are encouraged to self-source the internships. So the school will provide some contacts, and we also have the resources from UCD Careers Network Service. But really the school will help pass on contacts and to get graduate students set up on internships. So internship examples will be in the Environmental Protection Agency or some smaller private consultancy, environmental and sustainable consultancies, and the students can choose to do their internship. Often they're not necessarily paid, so I suppose that's just something to keep in mind.
Yeah, you're very right. Yes, students, sometimes the internships can be paid or not paid. It totally depends on the company which you are applying in. But yes, it's important to get these, involve yourself in these projects so that you gain experience, and that can help you in future in finding out the right opportunities for you. And we are very proud to inform you that UCD has been ranked #1 for graduate employability for 5 consecutive years. Now, when I talk about graduate employability, it means what kind of industry collaborations, industry partnerships UCD has, where our students are working. So you can easily see and gauge that if a university is ranked for 5 consecutive years as #1 for employability, that means how much effort they are putting in finding out opportunities for you and helping you gain the career which you desire for. So with that, I take only the last question, which is on accommodation, that UCD does provide on-campus accommodation, but that is not guaranteed to everybody. We have first come, first basis system in that as well. But UCD has a strong network where we help you connect with other fellow students, and you can rent an accommodation off campus also. So before we leave, I take an opportunity to, ask for one tip which our team can give to you while you, plan your travel or stay or study in Ireland. So I first ask Kara, because you are also teaching. So from a student and a professor, perspective, what tip can you give to the students? Yeah, I think we've lost connection with Kara, but I forward that message to Kevin because you are also a professor, Kevin, if you can answer.
Okay. So the question is, what professor, as a professor, can give the students if they come to the island?
Yes.
Yeah. So Ireland actually, and in terms of sustainability, so compared to other countries in the world, Ireland actually really strongly pursue the sustainability issue. So we have more and more opportunity here in terms of sustainability. So also quite the diversity is growing these days. So in small business schools, almost 70% students are international students. So you can have more and more connection with diverse background students. So that also really important experiences you can gather if you join UCD and also SmartFit. Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that. Emma, if you can share any tip for the students.
Yeah, thanks, Supriya. I just encourage all just students when you're looking at courses and specifically the risk, resilience and sustainability, just to ensure that the modules meet your needs. So this is really what you are going to enjoy studying, and it really offers you the types of career entry points that you're looking to get into. And so it's really just researching, reaching out to the school and finding out all the information you need to make an informed decision. Thanks, Supriya.
Absolutely. That's a very important advice that you've given, that yes, go through the curriculum well and then take a decision whether this is the course which you want to study. So Kara, I am not sure if you heard my question, but what is the tip you want to give to the students?
Sure, and thank you. Sorry, I dropped the connection there for a minute, but just the great question. And I would say, for me, I would suggest students go and look at the faculty profiles for each of the faculty members in the program they're choosing to apply, because we very much try and bring the research that we're working on into the classroom, and we very much welcome students to work with us either as interns or as research assistants after their studies are done. To work on the research that we're currently doing. So if there's anything that a faculty member is doing that interests you, really, it's great to build that relationship early.
Thank you so much for all the advice. And it's time. And thank you so much, students, for joining us today. And like I mentioned, that in case your questions are not answered or you still wish to connect with us, you can write to us on india@ucd.ie. So thank you so much once again, and have a very good evening.
Thank you so much for giving us this great presentation and answering all the questions so well. Thank you so much, everyone's audience, for your valuable time. All the audience, if you have any further questions, please feel free to contact the SI UK India office. For more update, do follow us on our social media handles. Bye-bye. Take care.
Thank you very much. Thank you for
Thank you.
organizing. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.